Oh, so you want to talk about Aqua Tofana? Well, good. You have come to the right place. And I will tell you some things that you didn't know, because this tradition did not die out in 17th century Italy. So buckle up, this is going to get nasty. Aqua Tofana was a poison made by Julia Tofana, which was used to help unhappy wives out of their marriages. Now, not a lot is known about Julia Tofana, apart from the fact that we think she came from Palermo. She died in Rome in 1651, and she was a professional poisoner. She probably learnt the craft from her mum. And her business was selling poison to wives, who would slip it into their husband's food, and then, ooh, look, the marriage is over. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. You can go and read all about Julia, but here's the thing that I wanted to tell you. It didn't stop with her. Oh, and also this painting behind me that keeps being used when people are talking about Aqua Tofana is not of Aqua Tofana. This is a 1903 painting called Love Potion by Evelyn de Morgan, who painted it, and it's supposed to be a witch. That's just a little pet peeve. Now, I would doubt very much that the business of poisoning husbands started with Julia Tofana either. And I'm not saying that any of this is a good idea, but I am saying that when you look at a system that forces women into marriage out of economic necessity and social pressure, and then gives them no way out without financial ruination or social ostracization, well, sometimes an accident can be an unhappiest woman's best friend. And this was true in 17th century Italy, and I'm afraid it was true until very recently in our history. Allow me to show you some evidence of the professional husband poisoning gangs that were uncovered in the 19th and 20th centuries. In 1879, a husband poisoning society was discovered in the Cizali region of Hungary. It was discovered after 8 husbands in neighbouring villages dropped dead very quickly, one after the other. Police were forced to investigate, and they found that their wives had banded together to make a little society and were bumping their husbands off with arsenic. The world was shocked, but it didn't stop the women of Hungary. In 1882, another husband poisoning ring was discovered in Hungary, being led by a 70-year-old woman called Thekla Popov. I will get out of the way so you can pause to read. Thekla had been quite happy selling her poisons to the unhappy women of Hungary for many years. Thekla and her accomplices were arrested, and they most likely died in jail. But that didn't stop anybody. Husband poisoning syndicates were found in Croatia in 1887, in Slovenia in 1888, in Ukraine in 1889, and more were found in Romania in the 1890s. And in 1897, a 62-year-old midwife was jailed for poisoning the husbands of a Hungarian town called Svahali, and her exact body count isn't known, but it's thought to be well over 100. Perhaps the most famous case of this in modern history is this one. The angel makers of Nagareth in Hungary. Between 1914 and 1929, at least 50 husbands were poisoned by a local midwife, Julia Fazakas. She did it by boiling fly paper to get the arsenic out and then giving it to any woman who was paying her. Now, Julia did herself in before the case ever got to trial, but other women, I think it was 26, were put on trial for murder. You can see some of them here. 8 were sentenced to death and 12 were jailed for life. And they became known as the angel makers. Now, if you want to know more about this, I wrote an article on the history of husband poisoning for iNews, so if you just Google iNews husband poisoning, it should bring it up. And who I've listed here is just a taste, a mere snapshot of what was actually going on, and Aqua Tofana wasn't the half of it. I do not endorse murdering your husband, joining husband murdering syndicates, or selling poison to the neighbours.